The Rig Veda, an ancient tapestry of hymns, prayers and stories. It whispers to us from a time long ago, a time when the land we know as India was a patchwork of kingdoms and tribes. The Rig Veda doesn't just tell us about rituals and gods, it tells us about real events. One such event was the Battle of 10 Kings. This wasn't just a battle. This was a clash of ideologies, a clash for supremacy. Firstly, please subscribe to TECH-NEXUS-TRAVEL and support this channel for more historical content. The seventh mandala of the Rig Veda sings of this war. It tells us of a powerful king named Sudas. He ruled over the Bharata tribe. They lived along the banks of the Sarasvati River. The river was their lifeblood. It was also a symbol of their prosperity. This prosperity bred envy. Other tribes looked on with greedy eyes. They craved the Bharatas' land and cattle. The Bharatas were strong, they were skilled warriors, but they were outnumbered. The Rig Veda tells us that 10 tribes united against them. This coalition was a mix of familiar foes and surprising turncoats. Some were driven by greed, others were driven by old grudges. All of them were determined to crush the Bharatas. The stage was set for a conflict that would reshape ancient India. The Rig Veda lists the 10 tribes who challenged the Bharatas. The Anus, the Druhyas, the Yadus, the Turvashas, the Purus. These are just a few. Each tribe had its own ambitions. They saw an opportunity in the rising power of the Bharatas, an opportunity to stop them in their tracks. The Purus, for example, were ancient rivals of the Bharatas. They had clashed many times before. Their rivalry ran deep. It was fueled by generations of animosity. The Druhyas, on the other hand, were driven by a desire for expansion. They saw the fertile lands of the Bharatas as ripe for the taking. Perhaps the most surprising members of this alliance were the Yadus. They were kin to the Bharatas, but internal strife and the lure of power had driven a wedge between them. The Yadus saw an opportunity to usurp their brethren. They joined the coalition, betraying centuries of kinship. The motives of the 10 tribes were varied, but their goal was singular: to defeat Sudas and his Bharata tribe. They amassed a huge army. They marched towards the Sarasvati River, their eyes set on conquest. The Rig Veda doesn't shy away from the brutality of the Battle of 10 Kings. It describes the clash of chariots, the rain of arrows, the screams of warriors. The Bharatas, though outnumbered, fought with the ferocity of cornered tigers. They knew their land was at stake. They knew their way of life was at stake. Sudas proved to be a shrewd tactician. He used the terrain to his advantage. He exploited the weaknesses of the enemy's formation. The Rig Veda describes how he broke the back of the enemy's chariot charge. He then unleashed his warriors on the disorganized ranks. The battle raged for days. The banks of the Sarasvati ran red with blood, but slowly the tide began to turn. Sudas's courage inspired his men. His tactics outmaneuvered his enemies. The 10 kings, initially so confident, began to lose heart. Their alliance, riddled with internal divisions, started to crumble. The climax of the battle came when Sudas confronted the enemy's leader. The Rig Veda doesn't tell us who this leader was. Some scholars believe it was the king of the Purus. Others believe it was a chieftain from the Anus tribe. Whoever he was, he met his end at the hands of Sudas. With their leader gone, the 10 tribes were routed. They scattered back to their lands, defeated and demoralized. A victory forged in faith. The Battle of 10 Kings wasn't just a military victory for the Bharatas, it was a spiritual triumph. The Rig Veda tells us that Sudas prayed to Indra, the king of the gods, for strength. Indra answered his prayers. He unleashed his fury upon the enemies of the Bharatas. He unleashed storms and floods that scattered their armies. The victory solidified the Bharatas' faith in Indra. They believed he had chosen them as his favored people. This belief would have a profound impact on their culture and identity. It would shape their destiny for centuries to come. But the battle also had significant political ramifications. The victory established the Bharatas as the dominant power in northern India. It allowed them to expand their territory and influence. They absorbed some of the defeated tribes. They forged alliances with others. They laid the foundations for a powerful kingdom. The Battle of 10 Kings was a turning point in Indian history. It marked the emergence of the Bharatas as a major force. It set in motion a chain of events that would eventually lead to the rise of the Kuru kingdom. This kingdom would later give rise to the epic Mahabharata. Legacy of the Bharatas. The Bharata tribe's victory echoed through the ages. Their story became a part of India's national consciousness. Though the Sarasvati River dried up millennia ago, the legacy of the Bharatas lived on. The very name India is believed to have originated from the Bharatas. It comes from the word Sindhu, the ancient name for the Indus River. The Persians, who had contact with the northwestern regions of the Indian subcontinent, pronounced Sindhu as Hindu. The Greeks, borrowing from the Persians, referred to the region as India. The Bharata's story is a reminder of India's ancient past. It is a testament to the courage and resilience of its people. Their victory in the Battle of 10 Kings shaped the course of Indian history. It laid the foundation for a civilization that would become one of the oldest and most vibrant in the world. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to TECH-NEXUS-TRAVEL for more content. Thank you for watching. See you soon.